news, and our first topic is this. Back in 2019 San Diego Comic-Con, was it Comic-Con or was it D23? Oh man, I want to say it was Comic-Con. I believe. Was it Comic-Con?
I think it was Comic-Con.
Kevin Feige came out on stage in Hall H, and they made this big, huge announcement for all the different projects and properties that they were dropping. We got all these announcements about upcoming future television shows on Disney Plus. Now we're halfway through WandaVision right now. We know Falcon and Winter Soldier is coming out in March. The Loki show is coming out. We've already seen a trailer for that, which looks very interesting. We've seen casting announcements for both Moon Knight, Ms. Marvel, She-Hulk, What If, we've seen a tiny little preview for. There's many, many, many more things. Of course, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Black Panther 2, my goodness, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. We know that Fantastic Four and the X-Men at some point are coming. There's so much happening. Well, at the very end of his announcement, he said, you guys, look, we don't have time to talk about Fantastic Four. We don't have time to talk about Mutants. We don't have time to talk about Captain Marvel 2. But he did, in fact, have time to make one last announcement. He brought out Mahershala Ali on stage wearing a baseball cap that said the word Blade. Blade. And it was so exciting. It was such a big moment. Everyone roared and cheered, and the ramifications of bringing Blade into the MCU are kind of astounding. Well, ever since that announcement, it was big. It was bombastic. It was really cool. There was a lot of pomp and circumstance. But we haven't really heard a lot of traction as to what they're doing with this project, with this property. Well, the other day, I think it was 5-6 days ago, we finally got our first bit of news. What is happening with Blade? And that is this: they've actually they hired a writer to write the film. There was a little discussion: is Blade going to be a movie, or is it going to be a television series on Disney Plus? Not really sure. Well, now we have our answer. It will be a film. It will be a feature film. And one of the writers from Watchmen is she's going to be penning the script. This particular article is breaking to us from the Hollywood Reporter. And Stacy, oh man, I hope that I say her name correctly. Stacy O.C. Kofur? I'm not entirely sure. I mean, she's worked on a lot of really cool stuff in the past. Obviously, she's really known for Watchmen. I say she's done some really cool stuff in the past. Here's O.C. Kofur earned an Emmy nomination for outstanding writing in the comedy series for her work on Hulu's Pen 15. So she's got an Emmy nom behind her, right? She's also worked on Hunters. If you haven't seen Amazon Prime's Hunters, starring Al Pacino, my goodness, what a great television show. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved it. She's also worked on the HBO show Run. I wasn't a huge fan of Run. It was okay. I stopped watching after like the third episode. It didn't do a lot for me, but a lot of people like it. So she's worked on Run. She's worked on Pen. She has an Emmy nom for Pen 15. She helped to write Hunters, and as well, she acted as a story editor and a writer on the Watchmen HBO series. My goodness, this lady has some talent. Now, we also know from this article that it was very important to Mahershala Ali in the hiring process, not just the casting process, but who we put behind the camera, the directors, the writers, the producers. He's specifically looking for black talent, and good for him. If he's starring in this series, if he's starring in this show, he wants to create more opportunities for voices that aren't the norm. And I think especially with a project like this, It's important. It's important to have that perspective, to have that background. Michael, you're hearing about this. I know you've seen a lot of the MCU, the Marvel movies and stuff like that. Maybe not every single one, but how does it strike you? What's your knee-jerk reaction here, and what do you think the implications are for this moving forward?
So I always feel a little weird as, a white person talking about race, but
Sure.
as you've already hit on, it's great. Like, I love the fact that for Blade, from day one, they said, no, our writer needs to be a
Yeah.
black person. And, similarly for other things, I apologize, I forget the whole title, but like the Ten Rings.
Oh yeah, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Yeah, exactly.
Another opportunity for, I don't want to just say an opportunity for diversity, but appropriate writing cast.
This
director,
is the story that they want to tell,
whatever.
so let's put the right people in the roles to tell that story.
There you go.
That's basically how I see it. Is that for so long we've had this formula of even when you had I'm going to take the blaxploitation films off the table for a second, but traditionally in like the 70s, 80s, 90s, when you had a film that had, or a story that had like a strong black lead, 9 times out of 10 it was always a white writer behind the camera, a white director, a white writer. So we're like trying to tell black stories from a perspective of someone who hasn't walked that walk. They don't entirely know what they're talking. I love rap and hip hop. I love rap and hip hop. And I've educated myself a lot in that genre. That does not make me an aficionado. I don't completely fully understand everything of what some of these people are talking about when they talk about their experiences. The best that I can do is sit back and listen and try to understand what it is that they're trying to say.
Yeah. So that's something I've been thinking about a lot, especially lately. Like you say, you've been reading up on, well, you listen to the rap and hip hop, of course, but you also read about it. What's the story? Like, what inspired the artist? Like, you might actually, at some level, understand, their background, but you understand it like for a moment. Like you read their story, and it's like, oh, I think I get it. They're living it every moment of every day, whatever their experience is. For example, some form of oppression. Like you might say, I understand what oppression is, but if you're 40, maybe you haven't dealt with oppression for 40 years. You've dealt with it here and there in some form or factor, not necessarily even the same scale.
Oh yeah, 100%, exactly. And so, kind of pulling it back into Blade for a second, I love this idea. I love this concept, and I think that's. Let's even take it one step further. Let's go back to Watchmen. I don't know if you saw the show Watchmen on HBO, but it was excellent. It was excellent. That's why it won so many awards at the Emmys. That's why it was nominated for even more awards. Even including the Golden Globes. It's so important to have well-told stories told by talented people who know what they're talking about. And bringing that to Blade, we have this vampire hunter who's half vampire, half human. He's referred to as the Daywalker. That in itself has so many implications about the world that we live in. That's what I love about these comic book stories. They're bigger than life, they're larger than life, but they also tell very relevant stories about the world that we're living in. I connect very heavily with Captain America. I never liked him in the comics. But the Chris Evans version from the films, from the MCU movies, I connect very strongly with. And to understand a character from that perspective, from that level, it warms my heart. Like when Black Panther came out, what that movie, it was a celebration of what it is to be in this demographic and to live that experience and to not have it placated down to. it's a wonderful opportunity, and I'm looking forward to that a little bit more with Blade. I think it's going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. Final thoughts, Michael.
I'm looking forward to it too. For the originals, it's been a while, so now's probably a good time for anybody to go and catch them again and take them in.
I agree. Big question for you guys is, what do you think of this new, I call it casting announcement? It's really, she was hired to pen the script for the upcoming Blade film, and I'm totally gonna get her name wrong, but I'm gonna try one more time. Stacey Osi-Kufur. I sure hope that's how you say your name. Osi-Kufur, Stacey Osi-Kufur. What do you think about this announcement? Does it get you excited, or does it get you interested? Especially with her work on Watchmen, that really is what's getting me excited about this. But what are your thoughts? Jump on down to the comment section below and let us know what those are. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you like this video, click like. If you really like this video, click subscribe. And if you really, really like this video, click share. Because that is exactly what Tony Stark's Iron Man would want you to do.